Shocking Mets trade incoming. Writer reveals wild update. As chronicled on this channel and all over the internet, there's starting to become more and more clarity with each passing day where the Mets will be focusing in terms of trade targets. And that July 31st trade deadline is quickly approaching. I'm Adam Choit, your host for today here on Mets Digest. And before we dig in on all that, I just want to give you guys a quick heads up to please subscribe, because as you can see, nearly 68% of you guys watching these videos are not subscribed. So please take a quick second to click subscribe. It is definitely appreciated for sure. So let's dig in. For quite some time, the Mets have been linked to a certain outfielder, and rumors are intensifying. The Mets making some moves at or before the trade deadline are necessary, and all signs point to them being imminent. Coming off a loss last night, their first game post All-Star break of the half, pressure is mounting. Even with the return of Brooks Raley, obtaining more quality relief pitching is paramount, and so is addressing this position. Do the Mets really want to boost their chance for contention? Let's get into it. The New York Mets could use some help in center field. How big a risk are they willing to take in going after it? Tyrone Taylor is a useful fourth outfielder on a contending team, but he shouldn't be an everyday starter. And with no real news on Jose Siri's return timetable, the Mets could be active on the trade market. That is Jackson Roberts from the Sporting News. And in terms of Tyrone Taylor, let's dig in a little bit on his, let's say, horrifying numbers, offensive numbers, that is. Those are Tyrone Taylor's stats, his career numbers right there. But I want to focus on his numbers this year because they are hideous, they are awful, they are terrible. He's a nice guy. He seems like a nice guy from afar. He gets along with his teammates. He plays hard every day. His defense is incredible. His hustle is incredible in the outfield. He gets him out there just as good as pretty much any center fielder in the sport. But looking at his offensive numbers from this year, 210 average, 264 OBP, 310 slugging, 573 OPS. We are talking Ray Ordonez numbers, if you remember him. We are in that ballpark. .9 WAR is a credit to his defense and base running, I would suppose, but just hideous numbers overall. Even the 2 home runs are bad. Sometimes when you see hitters, with overall numbers that are in the dump, so to speak, the home run numbers sometimes still are up, where you can get some power out of a player. But the Mets have really gotten nothing out of Tyrone Taylor, and it's just not good. You can't have a guy having 252 at bats, eating up all those at bats and giving you a 264 on base percentage, not a 264 average, a 264 on base percentage. It's just been one huge struggle, and even when he puts balls in play, pop outs, ground outs, rarely does Tyrone Taylor barrel up a baseball and hit a line drive anymore these days. So enough about Tyrone Taylor's offense for now. I want to dig in a little bit more on their potential target here. Chicago White Sox outfielder Luis Robert Jr. has been mired in a 2-year slump. Once an all-star and one of the hottest names on the trade rumor mill, the hype has almost entirely died down as he heads toward likely free agency this winter. However, John Boy Media's Jake Storiale believes there's still hope for Robert to succeed if he gets traded. And on a recent episode of the Talkin' Baseball podcast, Storiale predicted that the Mets would be the team to acquire Robert within the next 2 weeks. That's Jackson Roberts from the Sporting News once again. And interesting, we will dig into a little bit more of Luis's Roberts, especially his numbers the last couple of years, which are not good. And there's definitely risk that comes with acquiring him. But let's dig a little deeper into this story. They've got deep pockets, so you can take a chance financially and hope something clicks. Can Luis Robert get traded? He has to. And if you're the Mets, I don't want to compare it to Javier Baez, but Javi went to the Mets and kicked it into gear for a couple of months. Take a chance, and if it clicks, it's one of the coolest things ever. And it's the outfielder you guys have been looking for, and the lineup's crazy. If it doesn't, all right, you tried. How many good White Sox are there this year that had to escape Chicago? That's Jake Storiale from John Boy Media, referencing Javier Baez coming over to the Mets a few years ago, and and having a hot second half. And that does happen in baseball, where players are slumping on teams that are not in contention, go to a new team that is in contention, and lightning strikes, and they're rejuvenated. That does happen. But then there's also Darren Ruffs of the world, where the Mets acquired him, I remember, just off the top of my head, a couple of years ago, and he could not get a hit on the team. So there's definitely risk involved with acquiring a player who's deep in a slump, a 2-year slump at that. And we will dig into Luis Roberts' numbers momentarily. Robert is making $15 million this year with the $20 million club options, with $20 million club options for 2026 and 27. It seems crazy to think about touching those options right now, but if he gets hot for a new team in the second half, it might become a consideration. That's also from Jackson Roberts, the Sporting News. So Luis Robert is definitely a high-priced talent and not worth the money based on his current numbers, but let's dig in a little bit more on his history and his statistics as well here. Those are Luis Roberts' career numbers right there. As you can see, 625 OPS this year, not good. But even that alone will yield you an upgrade over Tyrone Taylor offensively. We are talking a 50-point OPS upgrade from Luis Roberts' worst season, really maybe not by far, because he did have a 657 OPS last year. So it's been, what do we got, nearly 400 and 300? We're talking 600, 700 at-bats plus, where he has just not been a productive player. How much of that can be blamed on the White Sox and being on a losing team, a historically bad team for a couple of seasons? That could be part of it. It is demoralizing to be in that situation as a player, I am certain, and it is not the most motivating situation to be in. It can be dark. It can be negative. Can Citi Field be a beacon of light and a wake-up call to the bat that Luis Robert possessed, let's say, in the year 2023, when he was awesome with a 5.1 WAR and a 857 OPS, 38 home runs. He's got 10 this year, 14 last year, so there's some power definitely still in there. Can the Mets catch lightning in a bottle with Luis Roberts, and is it worth this risk? It is definitely something to seriously consider, because this man, I mean, even in 2021, when he only had 275 at-bats, flashed a 946 OPS, then 746, 857, and then only the last few years last couple of years, did he start to steeply decline. But definitely worth looking into. A very good defender still in the outfield, even if he's declined some of his defense has declined as well, and in addition to his bat. But the Mets are certainly desperate for an upgrade in center field. They have not had much offense come from center field for the last couple of years, other than when they throw Jeff McNeil out there or Brandon Nimmo, who are probably not ideal center fielders, but have done an excellent job themselves out there. But I think the Mets definitely want to strengthen that position and get a stronger outfield bat. I can tell you that much. And this was actually from Luis Roberts' game. This is from, well, let's show this first. This was from yesterday, where the White Sox found a team worse than them, the Pirates. The Pirates sweep of the Mets aside from the first half, but the White Sox won yesterday, and Luis Robert hit a home run in the game, went 2 for 2, and also made an incredible catch in the outfield. Perhaps he's showing off for other teams. Perhaps he's refocusing as the trade deadline approaches. But in any event, he's definitely an athlete who has proven to be a solid baseball player over his career, sans the last couple of years. But this could be the Luis Robert in a Mets uniform quite soon. And here's a tweet from Master Flip. Hear me out. If the Mets buy low on Luis Robert Jr., he can be an upgrade at center. The defensive metrics are close between Taylor and Roberts, while Roberts provides an improvement offensively. He hit 38 bombs in 2023. That is the optimistic view on Luis Robert and what he can bring to the Mets. And, of course, Uncle Stevie has some cash at hand, and he is a wealthy man, and this could be a move that makes sense for the Mets. That's pretty much all I got on this story. We dove into his numbers. We dove into Tyrone Taylor's numbers and did some comparison. But what do you think? Is Luis Robert worth acquiring? Is he worth the money? Is he going to hit if he joins the Mets, surrounded by better players and a better team in contention? But let me know what you guys think. Comment below, like, share, subscribe. Definitely do all those things. And let's go Mets. Oh, and one more thing. Congratulations to David Wright on getting his number retired later today. That is super exciting. I'm looking forward to watching that. And definitely like, subscribe, comment below, and let's go Mets.